Moedim B'Simcha, a beautiful, pleasant festival it has been so far. But there's been this energy that I've noticed uh, more pronounced than in years past. Like, we're happy, but we're not settled. When we sit in the sukkah and Sukkot, there's this energy of just sitting in the sukkah, making meals and opening books and having great conversations and singing songs and all the stuff that goes with Judaism. We don't have a sukkah now, but we have the 7 days of the festival. We have days without work, the kind that you get paid for, and days that we can spend with our kids and our grandkids and friends. But the energy is not that settled energy, asking myself why. And I've talked to other people about this before I talked to all the Facebook and YouTube folks. And they agree. They said that, yeah, they felt that too. And we said, well, there's a war going across the valley. There's a war up north. My son's in the war. There's, things to be unsettled about. But it is a festival, and we always notice that when the Jewish festivals come, God turns down the volume of this world. God turns down the interference of our physical needs. Gives us a chance to think, why am I here? What am I doing here? Where am I going? All the big existential questions that we started out with in college. We're still trying to, I guess we're still in college, huh? Still trying to get those existential questions answered. Why do we suffer? Why do people do what they do? Is it all just for money, power, greed, fame? I don't think so. But then I realized, wait a second, what happened in Egypt 3,300 years ago? Okay, the big night came. Pharaoh's oldest son died in the plague of the firstborn. He told us, get out of Egypt as fast as you can, and he wrote us a check to take with us. Where we're going to cash it, I don't know. But no, there was a few gold shops on the way out of Egypt. And Teitzeu Rechush Gadol, and the Jews came out with a lot of wealth from Pharaoh. Now, of course, the Arizal in the Kabbalah teaches us that wealth was the sparks of holiness, which are the sparks of desire for God. Okay, the desire for God is a spark of Him for Him, right? And we're the link. We're the the relay. We receive God's desire and we turn it back to Him. And when you understand this, you don't get arrogant about when you feel holy and you want to serve God, and don't feel too down when you don't want to serve God because I must have not received any new sparks to transfer back to Him. This is a big secret of the redemption in Egypt, and it's the global redemption that we're looking at today. It's the same thing. It's God's desire for us, and we turn that desire back to Him. And when we take it out of its garment of the usness, right? The me, my vessel, my desire, my wanting to serve God, to be holy, to be a good person, etc. And I see that's still part of Him. Okay. But when they came out, it wasn't like it was everybody got their ticket on the train and the air conditioning came on and the steward walked by with a little cart of cocktails. They were in the middle of a terrible desert, and I imagine it wasn't too cool in the daytime, and I'm sure it wasn't too warm in the evening. And they were on the run. Pharaoh and his 600 chariots took off after them not long after. So this whole time since Leil Seder, right, which was Monday night, Yom Sheni, we've been on the run in the desert. If we can look at time with a quantum timelessness. because we're reliving those days energetically, existentially. And in the things that are happening around us, there still seems to be this energy of chaos. And chaos is always the measure of the unholy, of the dangerous. So we look around and we see it and we say, oh, I know why we're feeling this, because we're still getting chased by Pharaoh and his minions. And they're intrapsychic. And so when you feel now it's Friday afternoon and Shabbos is coming, well, Shabbos, all the pole oven, all the workers of iniquity, they're called in the classy translations, which just means the negative forces. They don't want to make us upset and impatient and intolerant and unloving. All those energies are banished by the energy of Shabbat. But we're still out in the desert. And we still got Pharaoh in the distance on the horizon. We just have this pillar of fire that keeps him from us. And clouds of glory that make the daytime a little less bright. So we are reliving that time before when? Before the final destruction of Pharaoh and his minions, when the sea opened and said, come on in, guys. The Jews got across, why can't we? And that was Pharaoh's big mistake, along with his... You see, because when you don't really believe in God and really believe in the wholeness and completeness of his miracles, then you can believe in part of it. Okay, the sea opened, it was a windy night, it was dry, the tide was low, a lot of physical excuses to explain away the miracle. But for the sea to come back and drown everybody so quickly and instantaneously when the Jews stepped out of the water, out of the valley of the open Red Sea, immediately the sea closed on them. Now, if that wasn't immaculate timing, I don't know what is. And that's Shvi'i Shel Pesach, the seventh day of the festival, which is coming up Sunday night. So if we haven't got it yet, we still have a great chance to experience the fullness of God's miracle in our lives. It's not enough for God to step in. He does the job completely, perfectly, to make a statement to us and to the rest of the world. I didn't just take you out of Egypt to let you flounder in the desert. I didn't let you go through everything for, okay, now we're going to live in tents for the rest of existence. No, I took you out to do the most awesome thing ever, to build a Beit HaMikdash, to build a portable Mishkan, a tent of holiness that wherever you go, if people would feel the holiness of the Mishkan miles away. They knew it was coming. They didn't need GPS. They didn't need a camera in the sky. When the Mishkan came, people knew. Of course, King David memorializes it and immortalizes it in the Tehillim when he says that the mountains will leap and the valleys will flatten before the Brit, the Aron Brit, the Ark of the Covenant. It wasn't just a box of gold and acacia wood. That was a piece of the eternal locked in the physical, that wherever it went, it turned things eternal. It removed souls from their bodies to have a transcendental moment. And removed negativity, didn't get close to it. And that's what they were carrying. These 10 commandments. When God writes something in stone, the stone is not the same stone anymore. And they were carrying those around in the desert. And so by the time that the 7th of Pesach arrives, which will be this Sunday night, Pharaoh's gone, the enemy's gone, that wild, chaotic energy of being pursued. Now, most of us probably don't know what it's like to be pursued, to be a fugitive, I hope. Now, a lot of movies use that motif in their drama, to being pursued. And so you get that sense a little bit from the movie, but, it's not your life. You can still turn off the set. So we have a little bit of that still going on in us. We're being pursued into Shabbat, though. We're being pursued into the divine four-dimensional reality of Shabbat, where the mind and the heart rule together as one, and the body is just a patient observer to the will of our divine soul. And that, my friends, is the rest of Shabbat that comes when Pharaoh and his enemies and our enemies are put to sleep, and we get a chance to be who we really are, divine beings in a fallen world. And when you remember that, everything changes. So have a wonderful Shabbat. Remember these things. Take the time to think about them. And even if they're hard for you, or they're strange for you, or you're not sure about it, suspend your disbelief for 30 seconds. You do it when you go to the movies. To watch a movie and enjoy it, you have to suspend the fact that it's really false. You have to live it as if it's true. And that's a deep spiritual advice. When you suspend your disbelief, you can start to experience the miracle, even if it's from 3,300 years ago. Shabbat Shalom, Hag Sameach. We'll see you again.